What's going on, guys? It is your man Eric Pate here, and welcome back. Oh, hold on. I did this wrong. Hold on. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. My name is Eric Pate. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Racing with Eric Pate. I'm your host, Eric Pate. Well, we're not doing things normal with the whiteboard, as I figured. Because really, I'm just here to tell you guys the results of the two duels tonight. And when we're also going to take a look at the last two laps of duel number one. Duel number two, there's nothing really to explain. I would say the only thing that we need to touch on is Chase Briscoe, when he had his pit stops about 14 laps ago, didn't really have a good pit stop. He had to refire his engine or something, and it was a little bit of a long stop. But otherwise than that, there's nothing really to talk about in Duel 2. Duel 1, we're definitely going to take a look at because of a wreck on the last lap. So, when I say row 2 and then I say a number, and then I don't say that number again. So, okay, if I say a row number, then a driver's name, then a number, then another driver's name, but I don't say another number, that is because they finish in the same position that they're sharing that row with. That will be all the way down to row 18. Row 18 through 20 does have different, the person who they're showing the row with. No, 17 through 20, my mistake. They're sharing a row with somebody who finished a position, looks like at least one position higher than for the Great American Race. Alright. So, now, real quick, letting you know, Kyle Busch and Chase Briscoe did not finish in the top 10 in their duels. They will be the front row of the Daytona 500. Let me explain. So the duel lineups is set based off of qualifying. So last night we had qualifying for the race, for the Daytona 500. Chase Briscoe and Kyle Busch were the only two drivers locked into their positions. So regardless of the result in the duel that they were in tonight, that is the position they will start. Chase Briscoe and Kyle Busch will start the Daytona 500 on the front row, even though Kyle Busch in Duel 1 finished 18th and Chase Briscoe finished Duel 2 in 20th because of his bad pit stop. Joey Logano, Chase Elliott won in row 2. Joey Logano, Chase Elliott finished first. Ryan Blaney and Carson Hocevar finished second. Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson finished third in their respective duels. Brad Keselowski and Michael McDowell finished fourth in their respective duels. John Hunter Nemechek and Christopher Bell finished 5th in their respective duels. This is the lineup. That was row 6 I just read. Row 7, Shane Van Gisbergen and Josh Berry finished 6th in their respective duels. Daniel Suarez and Ricky Stenhouse, this is row 8, finished 7th. In 9th, Casey Mears and Todd Gillen finished 8th. Row 10, Ryan Preece, our Clash winner, Ty Gibbs finished 10th. Real quick, the 20 names. Oh, hold on. Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin finished 10th in their duels. That's row 11. Row 2 through row 11, since they finished in top 10 in their respective duels, they will each get one extra point with exclusion of Casey Mears. They will get one extra point on position. Take the number 10 and take whatever position they finished in. And that's how many points they got. Actually, here's some better. Take the number 11 and then subtract it from the position they finished in. So 11 minus 1 is 10. 11 minus 2 is 9. Yada, yada, yada. So from row 2 to row 10, take the position they finished in. And that's how many points they got. And we'll start the season with. Anyway, row 12, we got Cole Custer, Eric Jones, who both finished 12th in their respective duels. Noah Gragson, Tyler Reddick finished 12th in their respective duels. That was row 13. Row 14, Bubba Walls, Riley Hurst finished 13th in their duels. Corey Heim, Zane Smith, That is row 15 with 14th in their duels. Jimmy Johnson, Connor Zilich, 15th. Now, here's where things get a little bit complicated. The next 9 names I read the next 8 names I read, they did not finish in the same position. Because we do have some Duel 1 eliminations. Not just that, like I mentioned before, about Kyle Busch and Chase Briscoe. Cody Ware and Ty Dillon finished 16th in their duels. AJ Allmendinger and Austin Cindric finished 20th. No, AJ Allmendinger finished 20th. And Austin Cindric finished 17th. Ross Chastain finished 21st. Anthony Alfredo finished in 18th. His interview just now, Anthony Alfredo was crying. William Byron finished 22nd. Justin Allgaier 21st. And Sharon Guerrero 21 to himself is Chris Buescher. Our Duel 1 eliminations were Chandler Smith finishing 16th and Corey LaJoie finished 19th. We're going to be talking about Corey LaJoie here in just a couple minutes. In literally in less than 30 seconds, we're going to be talking about Corey LaJoie. And Duel 2 eliminations were BJ McLeod and JJ Yaley. BJ McLeod just did, I think, a very cool sportsman-like thing. He came up to Anthony Alfredo, who just got into the Daytona 500, and even though he's not racing in the, even though BJ's not racing in the Daytona 500, but BJ went up to Anthony and gave him a big hug. I think that's very sportsmanlike right there. 2 competitors, one just got canned by the other to get into the Daytona 500. Speaking of which, let's see how Corey LaJoie went from, with a half lap to go, clearly in the Daytona 500, to eventually be eliminated. We're actually going to skip forward a little bit in this video because this is the overtime. Okay, so we're going to start in turn 4, second last lap. So they just left turn number 4. Joey Logano being pushed by Ryan Blaney. And LaJoie's pushing Kozlowski. White flag gets taken. 1 lap to go. Logano is out in front. Going off turn 1. LaJoie. And again, real quick, I'm going to pause it before all hell breaks loose. LaJoie is that blue and orange car. Here, let me move my phone up a little bit closer. This is LaJoie. That blue and orange car where my finger is. Okay? Now, Mears is just barely in the shot. So, we're just going to watch Mears. Okay? Let's hit play. Down the backstretch. They hit the backstretch. Again, this is LaJoie. And I want to see what... He gets checked up and he just starts turning around. Allmendinger gets turned around. He hits the wall. Where is Mears? There's Mears right there. Let's take a look at this again. We're gonna put it at 0.5. Okay. Again, going down the backstretch, final time. In Duel 1. Mears right there. LaJoie's right there. Kozlowski gets checked up just a little. And so does... Makes contact, looks like, with LaJoie. LaJoie gets turned. Now, Mears is right... I don't even know. I lost Mears. There's Mears. And right there. Let's look at it one more time. I want to see... Okay, I stand corrected. This is where Mears is. There's Mears. LaJoie gets turned around. Mears just floors it. Barely misses LaJoie. Gets hit by Suarez. But Mears still had enough to get into the Daytona 500. Still did what he had to do. And Mears will be racing for the Daytona 500. Because of a mistake. It took him a minute to figure out to figure it out, but it looked obvious to me that Casey Mears was going to be racing in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Thank you guys for watching. Check flags in the air. Alright, 2 hours after the duels. I took down the original video. So the original video is out. Was the first 10.5 minutes of this video you guys have probably been watching. I uploaded that, and then while I know team I wasn't about to say, while I was in the bathtub, that's why I'm so soaked right now. While I was in the bathtub, I get a tweet from Bob Procris that Anthony Alfredo's something with his cooling mechanism was wrong, and apparently got loose, and due to post-race inspection finding that, it did disqualify Anthony Alfredo from participating in the Daytona 500. Anthony Alfredo was going to start 38th on the day, but since BJ McLeod, who finished one position worse than Anthony Alfredo, will get Anthony Alfredo's spot for the Daytona 500. I was shocked when I found out. So, yeah, Anthony Alfredo, who finished 18th, guys, and was going to start 38th in the Daytona 500, just got his spot stripped, and now will not be able to race in the Daytona 500. And the 19th finisher, BJ McLeod, one of the two guys he was racing, the other being JJ Yeley. JJ Yeley will not be in the Daytona 500 after this stuff because he finished 3 laps down in the duel. But it is official. BJ McLeod. I was going to wait until it was official about BJ McLeod being in the Daytona 500. But I just got confirmation that he is going to be in the Daytona 500. So, nothing really changed in the starting lineup besides BJ McLeod taking Anthony Alfredo's spot. So yeah. Now, checking flags in the air. See you guys in next week's episode of Let's Talk Racing with Eric Pate, post Daytona.